eyes sparkled as she called out my name. "Mommy, is it time to get up?" she asked in her most precious voice, which almost made me forget I was furious with her trifling dad. I walked around her hot pink room and saw she was the only one in her bedroom. I pulled up her covers, kissed her on the forehead, and said, "No, sweetie, it's not time to get up. Get some rest." "Okay, Mommy. Love you." Story rolled over and hugged her snowy white teddy bear. My anger seeped back in. Even my daughter had someone to cuddle with. I continued the search, growing madder with each step. The door to the guest room across from Story's was open. However, I could clearly see my husband wasn't in there. I headed down the winding staircase into the great room and then went into the keeping room. The TV was on, but Dillon wasn't on our sectional leather couch. There was one other place he could be, his favorite spot, the basement. With every step I took, I became more and more ill. I thought, why do I have to be the one that always tries not to go to bed with anger seething? Maybe I wasn't the only one ready to call it quits. If I have to be alone in our bed, we might as well be separated. Shake the thought, I told myself as I passed the 6-framed NFL team jerseys proudly displayed on the stairs. Those shirts quickly reminded me that maybe that was part of his problem. Dillon was still frustrated about not becoming successful in the league. Though he was there long enough to get vested, he never was a starter. And ever since he'd been cut, because of salary cap reasons, he'd been a little crazy. If it wasn't mood swings, he was downing other players in the league. For a year, he had no job. Thankfully, we had savings, but mentally, he was scarred. Sometimes he went off on me for no reason, or I'd find him in a corner crying alone. Seeing him go through that was unbearable. After finding our way to each other for comfort, we prayed and God came through. His old college coach from the North Carolina Tar Heels, who was now head coach at the University of South Carolina, offered him a chance to be a position coach. If that didn't happen, who knows where my husband would be. He'd been out of the league for 3 years, and the coaching world was difficult at best. The Gamecocks' last 2 seasons had been subpar. I knew if they didn't have a winning season this year, Dillon could be out of a job. If he did still have issues about not playing pro ball, he didn't have to take it out on me. Plus, he didn't need to be stressing anyway. This was June. Football season was coming up in 2 months. God had blessed him to still be a part of the game. He was known as the best linebacker coach in the Southeastern Conference. Though he wanted to be a coordinator and head coach, this job was a stepping stone. The chump needed to be grateful. He might not be playing in the league anymore, but at least he had a job. God had blessed him, and he needed to get over it. Flipping on the light switch, I saw his fat, funky self comfortably sitting in his lazy boy with drool sliding down the left side of his face. I pushed his head lightly with one hand, while the other one rested on my hip. The jerk didn't move. "What are you doing?" I screamed, trying to startle him. He bounced up and became inches taller than me. "Shari, didn't you get enough of messing with me?" he asked, as if he had no intention of apologizing. He looked meaner than an upset pit bull. But I'd been bummed out too long. I was as ticked off as a struggling single mother who hadn't gotten paid child support in over a year. My jaw was tight and my eyes were squinted. If I was white instead of the caramel brown sister I was, I would have been red hot. "I really don't think we should talk right now. Let me just go to bed. You really need to head upstairs and leave me alone," he said, clutching my hand and turning me toward the stairway. I jerked away from him. "Don't pretend like everything is okay." "Don't bring that up again." His voice stiffened like I was the one with the problem because I was mentioning it. "You're beginning to be a little intolerable. Don't make a big deal out of it." He turned away and went to lay back down on the couch. With frustration, I pouted and headed up to the main floor. I heard Dillon behind me.